And it has happened. The 8 o'clock hour is here, and my guests are in the house, in the studio. David Morgan is here, County Executive David Morgan. How are you, my friend?
Hey, doing well. Thank you, Jeff, for letting me be here with you today.
Absolutely, and of course, we're in the middle of campaign season for you. Everybody knows that, and we appreciate you being here. We'll probably have the phone lines open if you want, and people might want to talk with you. Also, Keith Durham is over there minding his own business.
It seems like I'm always here.
Well, you're here a lot. Yeah. I like you being here, though.
I do too. I like being here.
Yeah, I like you being here. So you're going to contribute to the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
We may have here and there. David, I know you've been out and about a lot here lately. You had a ball game last night.
Yeah,
we might as well talk about that.
Oh man, you know, our let me just give a shout out to Whitetail Properties. You know, they have been Mark Cunningham. They are our sponsors, and they've been a blessing to us. And we had a big win last night against a tough team, probably one of the best defensive teams in the league. We were toe to toe. We were tied like every inning. We scored the exact same amount of runs, and then we both had a 0 inning. Then we both had a 1-run inning, and then we were able to have last bat being home team. So we rallied off 7 runs, and they just didn't have time to get back on the field. Oh, it was nice.
And I didn't get to make it, but that's your team. My grandson's on your team.
That's right, Shep. Now I'm gonna tell you,
Shepard's on your team.
Shep is an athlete, man. He is a stud. He just has a knack for the ball. I'm not not trying to kiss up today, but it's just the truth. Anybody in the league knows that Shep, and he's always got a smile on his face. He cracks me up.
I've never seen a kid that loves ball any more than he does. He loves it. It's 24/7.
Yeah, I haven't coached in goodness since I took office, and I've got 5 children, so one of the things I've always loved doing was coaching ball. So I've coached baseball and basketball and football over the years with all my older 3 kids, and so my younger 2, I kept coaching football the first year, 2 I was in office, but I had to lean heavy on my assistant coaches, but I told Titus, I said, son, I'm gonna coach you again in baseball, and so people see me at the ballpark. I may not be at this fish fry or that fish fry if it's on a ball game night, because my family comes before.
Sure.
All that kind of stuff. So
sure.
He's the 5th boy. He's the 5th baby, and I was the 5th baby. And I just know I know there's not as much time in the day for the 5th child.
So you got 5 children?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Well, name them all for me.
Peyton Franklin. She's married now. She's 21.
Unbelievable.
Benjamin Aaron. He is 19, and then got Elijah Knox. He is 15, and Eden Kate. She is 11, and she was last night. We were up about 10:30 writing a Bible study lesson. She is going to be leading. She led the FCA this morning. So
good.
She led a lesson on the crucifixion and the resurrection. So, and then Titus is the baby. He is number 5, and he's 8 years old. Yeah.
And your life partner,
Stephanie Morgan. Yeah. She's like an angel sent from heaven for me. So
I was going to say, Dave, you couldn't have done this by yourself.
She's crazy to hang in there with me for 23 years. You know what I mean? So I said, tell everybody the Lord just blinded her the first night we met. So anyway, I'm very blessed for sure.
I definitely snuck up on Teresa too. So.
Well, you outkicked your coverage, as they say. I think Keith did too.
My dad said you married above your raising.
Yeah,
that's it.
There you go.
Well, I tell every young man, the place to find a good woman is in church.
That's right.
And that's where I found my wife, or the Lord opened my eyes, and there was like a glow from heaven on her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were married 6 months later. So in 23 years, here we are.
Good for you, man. And wonderful family, wonderful children. Of course, your dad and all your rest of your family. Been a part of Lawrence County for a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of Morgans. So my parents have, I believe it's 28 grandkids now.
Oh my gosh!
Got another great grandbaby.
Listen, you've
created. Where do y'all get together at?
Mom and Dad's house. It's tight, and it's rare that we're always together. So
David, you've created your own voting block.
Well, there we go. That's right. I need some of my brothers to move back to Tennessee so I can get some more votes. You know what I mean? But yeah,
they have kind of scattered out some, haven't they?
Yeah, my brother Tony's a special education. He has a master's in special ed, and he teaches. Well, he's actually an administrator for a school district in Norman, Oklahoma. Mark is in Huntsville he's a Colonel Army. He's at Redstone Arsenal there. My brother Timmy is a project manager here for DRM.
Yep.
And my brother Stephen pastors Destiny Church, and they have 3 locations at Columbia, Lewisburg, and Shelbyville. And then here I am. And then my little sister Heather is a music minister at Cornerstone Church, a rather big church up in
That's right.
up in Nashville. Yeah,
I've been there.
she's I guess she's a rock star in the church worship world.
That's cool.
If you can be a rock star in that, I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, and then she married one of the most famous guys from Lawrence County, Cedric Wallace.
That's right.
And he is my brother-in-law, and they've got 4 beautiful kids too.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. They recently, well, I say recently, probably been a year or two ago, maybe, that they sold here and had to move up there where she was going. So
Yeah, they came knocking. You know, she's I tell her she's the only person that I've hired twice and's quit me. You know, 3 times, but she was our music minister. But opportunity was there. It was a good opportunity for them, and she's actually working for a lifelong friend of mine. His name's Jeremy Allstill. He's the lead pastor there, and they've known each other for a long, long time. So.
that's great. That's
cool.
great. Well, you're blessed with a big family, a loving family, and you decided to take on politics well back when.
Well, I'm going to blame T.R. Williams for some of that.
Yeah.
He had got me involved. Well, the Lord had put on my heart years ago to help with the substance abuse challenges in our community, and just being in ministry, you're going to come across that.
Yep, absolutely.
And so we, as a church, and started endeavoring. We wanted to open a facility. So 8 Oaks Recovery that exists today here in Lawrence County is the results of all of that. But TR asked me to chair a faith-based coalition of pastors to help with the substance abuse issues, and that was kind of pre the Lawrence County Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition and all that. And so we started that group, and that's when I got to know TR a little bit deeper. And anyway, when he was deciding he wasn't going to run for a 3rd term, he started talking to me, and I ran for about 2 years. I said, no way. I don't want, I don't want to be involved in that. But I've always cared about what's going on in our community. And as he began to share with me the opportunities you have as county executive to be a part of decisions that are going to affect, people for generations to come, it started appealing to my heart. Hey, we can make a difference I can make a difference in a seat like that. I could help steer the ship, if you will, even though the county executive, most people don't know, doesn't have a vote in what's passed unless you're the chairman.
Sure. And
that's only a tiebreaker, and TR said he broke 1 tie in 8 years,
Yeah.
But you still get to be a part of every conversation. You get to initiate legislation, if you will. You get to share with people,
Right.
Share with the commission what direction the county should go. So
Right.
Anyway, it's been fun. It's been a joy, and we've done a lot of good things, and I'd love to keep doing it because, man, I think, you get your feet wet the first few years, you're learning. I realized real quick, I went to every training I could possibly go to, and then I realized, man, I need to learn even more, and so I went to Lipscomb on my own dime and got a master's in leadership and public service just to try to learn more about how to do this job, and so now you build a lot of relationships, and you've had multiple, you had several terms, and so you build relationships throughout that first term. You get your feet grounded underneath you, and a second term can be exponentially better, just because you have all those relationships built and you've got the understanding that you need. Yeah.
Sure.
So anyway, It's been great, man.
Someone asked me, I'm sure you guys know, and I didn't know right off the top of my head, is how many county districts do we have?
There's 18.
18.
Yep.
That's more than I was thinking.
Yeah, it used to
But
be
there's-
9. but
Yeah, I was
now
going to
there's
say, at one
18.
time it was just 9. Do y'all remember why or how that happened?
I don't remember why or how.
Well, if you think back, there were elementary schools everywhere in this county.
That's true.
I mean, Piney had a school,
That's true.
5 Points had a school, everybody had a school. So, and everywhere there was a little school, there was a little gas station, and people threw up a little water tower and, created little city units there. And some of those have collapsed, of course, over the years and been consolidated. But I think part of it stems from that era when we had multiple places to be represented.
I'm a proponent of reducing the number of districts back down to 9, but doubling the commissioners. So you keep 18. You can have two commissioners per district. The reason I say that is from the city of Lawrenceburg side. When I was mayor, this is our perspective on it. Is every district, or a lot of the districts, not every district, a lot of the districts out in the county has a finger that reaches into the city limits of Lawrenceburg to up their population, because the districts are drawn by population. And so they reach their finger into Lawrenceburg by population. When Lawrenceburg has an election, you have to have a voting precinct per district. So we have to have all these boxes. So when you go to vote in Lawrenceburg, it used to be you had one at the Old Armory and you had one at Rotary Park. And so the fingers are drawn weird. People that live on Thomas Street have to go all the way out to Valley Road to vote when they could just walk right down to the to the old armory and vote if they wanted to. But the districting does not allow them to just go next door and vote. They have to go all the way out there and vote. So there's a lot of differences. Like if you lived on 9th Street in Lawrenceburg, you had to go to New Prospect to vote, even though there's a voting precinct at Ingram Sal and one at Mars Hill Church.
That is weird.
Yeah,
That is, yeah. That
so that's there's a lot of, from the city standpoint, there's a lot of reasons to reconsolidate into 9 districts. And if you don't want to reduce the amount of commissioners, just put 2 commissioners per district. So that's if I was on that wagon, I don't want to bring David into the conversation because that's pretty controversial in the county
yeah,
side.
I think more representation is better than less. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's a very conservative principle. But then you get into situations like in Giles County right now, and they've got 21 commissioners and they've got 32,000 people in their county. We have 47,000 people, and we have 18. So they even have more commissioners, and sometimes it can just get kind of jammed up. There's a lot of information to be ascertained and understood, and so anyway, there's a lot more that goes into it sometimes than people realize. And commissioners put in a lot of work. And they do. They spend a lot of time.
Now, you guys weren't serving at the same time, though, were you?
No.
No, we haven't had the privilege of doing that.
No.
So, unless Keith wants to come out of the woodwork somewhere someday. Or even run for county commission.
No, I think the Lord's got me where He wants me right now, so I'm good.
Yeah.
So
that's when you know that's a good thing.
yeah, absolutely.
Man, that's a blessing. Yeah.
When you know
And that's kind of how it was for me, man. I said no for 2 years, and I put out a couple things to the Lord. I said, hey, if this happens just like this, if you ever dare God.
Sort of that Gideon deal.
That's exactly what it was. I put the fleeces out there, and he soaked it, and he dried it up. 2 different things. Yeah, 2 different things he nailed for me. And there's no way I could say no at that point. I felt like I'd be disobeying the Lord. And
sure.
So just balancing it all out for me has been important because, I'm a child of God first and foremost above everything else, and then I'm a father and a husband, and I'm a pastor, and I'm a county executive, and so balancing all those things out has been been cool.
I don't want to cut you off, but I want to expand on that a little bit. I have always said that I want you to be the best pastor that you can be, more than I want you to be the best county exec that you can be. How do you balance that? I mean, you pastor one of the biggest churches in our city, or in our county, as a matter of fact, and you've got a huge congregation. So a lot of people, they think, well, does he have the time to do that? I'm sure that God provides that balance for you. Can you talk about that a minute?
Yeah. So I'll say this: time management is key to everything I do.
Yeah.
So I'm very much a stickler on that, And I could say my dad will tell you this. If he was sitting here, he's 80 years old, but he would tell you, Dave was always doing 20 things at the same time.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I'd have multiple projects. I'd be building 3 tree houses at once in 3 different trees.
Do that while you can, let me tell you.
So I always had multiple things going on. So it's kind of in my nature. I think people have to have a certain gifting or predisposition to be able to manage things like that, because I joke a lot. I say some people look at my life and they have a panic attack,
Yeah.
And me and Steph, we sleep good every night.
Don't count your wife out of this equation. She's a big part of that. Right?
No, that's so the family side. My wife handles everything, and except for money, she don't want to think about it or deal with money. So I deal with all that. But now the church. So I have a very, very strong staff at our church, and those guys have been raised up in our church and through our school of ministry and intern program, and we have. So one of the things we do, and something I learned being a pastor's kid. My dad had 6 children, and so we kind of did everything at the church. We took out the trash. We did this. We did that. We did the music. We did the weddings. We did the funerals. We did everything. And so taught Sunday school class, youth pastor. But I learned when I got into ministry, I learned, I have got to do, as Ephesians 4:11 says, God gave apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, and evangelists to equip the saints to do the work of ministry. Yeah. And so what we've learned to do at our church is really value lay leadership and let them be a part of ministry, because I'm going to tell y'all, there is nothing more satisfying in this life than being a part of somebody's eternal life change.
I agree.
And so that's kind of how we do that. Now, as far as the church structure and day-to-day goes, I am the lead pastor, and I'm responsible for preaching, to the congregation. I'm responsible for leadership development and then a connection with my leadership team. That's our board and our staff. And so, I did pull away a little bit. I'm not in a weekly staff meeting with my staff, but I've entrusted them to kind of run the day-to-day grind, and I'm in a monthly staff meeting with them. And then if they need me,
Call you anytime.
Come by the office, call me anytime. They're citizens of Lawrence County too, right? So they can come by and chew on my ear about something if they want to.
Exactly.
So no problem with that. And with my family, and I'll tell y'all. So I don't know if I said this last time I was on here or not, but one of the things I'd said first when we won this first election was I talked to my board and I talked to my family, and I said at 3 years in, I want to really do an evaluation of where we are as a family, where we are as a church. If my family's struggling, if my children feel like I'm not there enough, or my wife is struggling, most importantly, if Stephanie's struggling with me being in this role, then I wouldn't even consider running again. And then I said, if the church is in decline, or if the church is stagnant, or if I've got turmoil among my staff and things like that, or if I've got a large contingency of the body that says, man, we really want you to not do that again, then I would take all that into consideration and not run. So we did that assessment back in September, and my family, man, we are so blessed. Like my kids, they're just amazing. My wife, and so my wife's like, no, Dave, we love doing what we do, because she's a people person. If your wife's not a people person, it's hard to be in public office.
Oh yeah.
I'm just going, but she loves people, and Stephanie genuinely, like, there's no cattiness about her. There's no like, oh, she said this or she said. She's just not that kind of woman. Never has been, and that was a unbeknownst, there's one of those words.
Unbeknownst.
Look that up.
Yeah, there's one of those unbeknownst blessings that I got when I married her. So anyway, and the church, for instance, the first year and a half, we kind of stayed the same size, which is okay. We're a healthy church, and we're growing internally and stronger. But man, in the last year and a half, 2 years, our church has more than doubled. And I tell everybody, I haven't become a better preacher. I didn't go to some preaching master class, So it's got to be our people. It's got to be our leadership development. It's got to be the laity and the difference they're making outside the walls of the church, and as they're shining the light and reaching people. And Eight Oaks Recovery has opened, of course, since I've been in office, and it has grown exponentially. And it's 40, I think we got 45 guys right now in the program, and we look to double that number of beds available, hopefully by the end of the summer, if we can get all of our ducks in a row. So that's all part of it too. A lot of those guys' families are getting saved, coming to church. I mean,
That's what it's about.
Oh, I've got this little boy. He comes up to me every Sunday. He finds me in second service, which is packed wall to wall, and people standing in the back. And he runs up and finds me and gives me a big hug. Pastor David, Pastor David. And his mama started coming because her husband got into some trouble with substance abuse and struggling. And he went through Eight Oaks and got healed up. And man, he is doing so good. And his kids just come and find me every Sunday. And y'all, I mean, even when I'm exhausted, even when maybe I feel like I'm stretched, those are the moments that God reminds me, you got one life to live.
That's right.
You got one life to give. And so I count it all worth it.
Wow.
To be able to serve.
When you see a little one like that who is obviously feels taken care of, somehow.
Yeah.
He's getting to be raised up in church, man.
Yeah.
And the statistics are overwhelming for kids that are raised up in church, their opportunity to succeed in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's mind-boggling. I mean, the government should be pointing that out. It should be something we talk about.
Well, they're not going to.
No, but I will in my role in government, because it's very important. Yeah, it's very important. And it's the truth.
You do.
Yeah, it's the truth. And so I'm not scared to talk about those things, because Jesus changed the world. I mean, we're all going to celebrate him this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a reason why families are getting together. It's not just to hunt Easter eggs. It's to celebrate the guy who died so that we could live,
Amen.
And anyway, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, that's for sure.
And lives forevermore.
That's right. He's alive. Yeah, Buddha's in a grave, and Muhammad is too, and all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Well, I can't think of his name right now. He once wrote a book. God, what is his name? Anyway, he said, Elvis is dead and I don't feel so good to myself.
I haven't heard of that book. Yeah, I got to find that one.
Louis Grizzard. That's it.
Okay, all right.
Louis Grizzard.
Well, you got to do me a favor, though.
Yes, sir.
You got to make a sign or something and put out on a highway what you're doing back there in that beside your church, and just spell it out. You know how many calls I get?
Now, which side of the road are you talking about? Our side or the other side?
No, your side.
Okay.
They're like, where's that road go? I'm like, there's a road back there.
They don't know anything about Hillcrest or Moore Drive and Hillcrest Drive?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows. Yeah, so, so this is crazy.
It's a ski slope, isn't it?
Well, it will be. If we'd have got some good snow, it's temporary, everybody. It's temporary, by the way. So, one of our growth barriers was parking.
Yeah.
And if you don't, like, if people don't know church and study growth barriers and all that, they won't understand that. Like, how can parking be? Literally, we would have people come in our parking lot, not have a place to park, and they just leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we got to do something.
Yeah, you were very limited on your parking.
Yeah. I said, we got to do something. So we created that temporary parking lot, and eventually, we're in the middle of a fundraising campaign to build a new building. We're looking at 25,000 square feet if I don't keep making it grow, But so that's what we're going to build right in our.
So you're going to have to move. There's no way you can put a 25,000 square foot building there and have enough parking, unless you.
Well, we do have an engineered plan that looks like we can make it happen, and we're going to be trying to acquire some more land right there too. So that's all part of the plan. We own 54 acres on the other side of the highway. So other side of railroad tracks. Originally, when we bought that, we thought maybe we'll just move the whole thing over there.
Yeah.
But man, to relocate the whole thing and to give up the 18,000 square feet that you currently have.
Yeah.
Rebuilding that is not cheap, So
no, anyway. That's a big undertaking.
I wish we had a lot of money in the bank and it didn't matter, but that's not always how it is. But God always provides, and so I'm excited about the opportunity.
Yeah, well, you obviously have an active faith in church there, and have been for a number of years, and but you've got all these hats.
Oh yeah.
You got all these hats, and you wear them all pretty well so far.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised at how old your children are. You're too young to have children like this.
Well, Stephanie keeps me young, Yeah. I married a teenager. I don't know if y'all knew that. She was 19. She turned 20 just a month into our marriage. So.
Do you shop on the hair color aisle at Kroger or anything like that?
No, dude. If you could zoom in, if people watching online, you can zoom in. I've actually let my beard grow out a little too much because the gray is starting to shine through.
That's okay. I think it looks good.
Stephanie says she likes a little gray in there. So I'm 47 years old. I'm a class of 96 grad. I was just thinking about my friend Mark Fields this morning. He tragically lost his life a few years back, and man, I didn't know at the time because Mark, we coached ball together and all that. So being at the ballpark last, I always get reminded of all the years we coached Ben and Braden together, and I was just missing him. But I was thinking, man, he was a mouthpiece in this community, Mark was, and he would be right there in my corner right now, fighting for me. And so, anyway, the ballpark always brings back memories. I grew up playing over there beside the National Guard Armory, the current
behind
Armory.
behind
Dura.
See, I grew up playing behind the old Armory.
The old Army is where I played.
That's where my brothers played.
Yeah, that's right.
But I played at Denver Trap. I played at Flanagan. Where I started playing t-ball and all that was right there behind Durham.
At one time, Flanagan was a premier field. It was super nice.
Well, they hosted the '83 World Series or something like that. We got a ball at my house. My parents hosted. Two of the kids stayed at our house. Yeah. Can you imagine what those kids were thinking coming?
Oh,
6 Morgans.
Yeah, my goodness.
5 boys, and they came into our house, so 7 boys while they were there.
We're on this compound in Martinsburg.
Yeah.
We kept two California boys in 2015 when they came.
Oh yeah, when you hosted it that other time. Yeah.
We had a blast.
Yep. Maybe we could get the privilege of doing that again. I know the fields are, being upgraded.
Oh yeah, there's
happening.
Listen, we have a large baseball fan or baseball community here, big time, or ball period.
Yeah.
Well, someone may want to talk to us, and maybe talk to you, maybe ask a question. Hey, good morning. You're on WDXE with us.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
But I may have to listen to it later because I'm waiting for somebody to fix my garage door, but that's extraneous. I moved back here after being away 40 years in the middle of my life. And I'm curious who he's running against, and I think there's somebody running independently. He doesn't have to call names, but what does he think are the decisive issues that possibly they differ on, not what they agree on, but what they might disagree on, just in general?
Okay. All right. We'll let David address that. All right.
All right. Well, that thank you for the question, and that is somewhat of a loaded question, I guess. But we are in campaign season, so we got to answer those questions. I have two opponents. I have one in the Republican primary, and I have one in the general election. If I'm fortunate enough to make it through the Republican primary, one of the things I think one of my opponents is saying that's different between, or that's trying to argue is that they'll be in the office more than I am, and so. Now, my office, if you understand the role of county executive, I have 9 different department heads that work for me that are unelected. And so they have offices around the county. They have their places of business that they manage. So that's, your ambulance service, your solid waste, your maintenance, your libraries, election office, all the way down the line, veterans affairs, all that. So I am their direct supervisor. So I'm oftentimes at their place of business, or I'm at one of their events that they have going on, or I'm functioning in that way. I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy. I don't want everybody to always come to me. I go to them, and so that's a lot of the way that I manage things. And so one of the things that was happening when I came into office was, my office doesn't offer a service as far other than a listening ear. And that's my responsibility as county executive, to listen to people's concerns. And so traditionally, that office has just kind of have a revolving door, and people just come in and go out. But one of the things is my executive assistant, Nancy Brewer, is the only grant writer that we have in the county. Yeah. And so I noticed early on, and the first 4 months, so the first September, October, November, December of that first year, I just assessed everything. And I wanted to hit the ground running the new year with how I will kind of do things different, right? So one of the issues was a lot of people just come in there and hang out. And that's just the bottom line. They just come and hang out, not for an hour. I'm talking 2 hours. I'm talking 2.5 hours. People just show up whenever they want to. And I'm okay with some of that, okay? If you got a real concern, but the thing is, I'd rather you not just show up, I'd rather you call and schedule an appointment with me so I can give you an hour at least of my time to talk about whatever. Because whatever it is that's concerned someone that's going to come to my office to talk to me about it, they've been thinking about it for a long time.
Sure.
Just like it being a pastor. As a pastor, I'd rather people schedule time with me so I can give you the ample amount of time, and I can know what you want to talk about, so I can actually gather some information that'll help all of us come to a better resolution. Yeah. So that just wasn't really the culture, all right? And I'm not knocking my predecessor or anything like that, but there were certain employees of the county that just hung out in that office for over an hour every morning, having coffee, just talking. And what it does is, the most productive hours of the day, my grant writer's not being able to work and being distracted. So I told Nancy, I said, one of the things I'm going to do is I want you to block out 4 4-hour blocks of time every week where all you do is mine for grants, all you do is work on grants. Saying we're going to shut the door between your office and the front office, and and we want you to have isolated time where you're not just got randoms just showing up, as my kids say, randoms. Yeah. You don't just have randoms just showing up. And so what I learned was that aggravated a few people, because I said, hey, I'd rather schedule time with you than for you just, because here's the thing, I may be going to a meeting, and that's another thing, as a county executive, I serve on numerous boards, every board. I'm not talking about just local. There's several local, but like regional boards, and you're the deciding factor in developmental district policy. You're the deciding factor in human resources policy for the whole 13 county region. So one of the things that we differ on is, and at least that's what one of the digs is. They're trying to say, well, be there more. And here's the thing: I am there. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's not an 8 to 4:30 job. And matter of fact, in my adult life, there was very little time that I punched the clock for somebody else, because I've always worked for myself. And even at the church, it's a 24/7 commitment. When you're the county executive, your phone is always on. Your emails are right there in your hand. You're ready to communicate with people. And that's my job. My job is to communicate and to direct the affairs of this county in that way. And so that's one big difference between me and some of the things my opponents are saying.
So let me talk to that point just a minute. So I was mayor of Lawrenceburg for 12 years, and in my view, if I was sitting in that desk, I wasn't doing my job. And you can call City Hall today. Joyce was my executive assistant there, and she's still there today. She does a great job. She's fantastic, as a matter of fact. And you can count on one hand how many times I sat in my office. But because, like you say, as county exec and as mayor, you're on all these boards, not just here locally, but regionally, you're on every board, and statewide, you're on boards, and my take on it, that would be is if you are in your office, you're probably not doing your job to the fullest.
Well, I'm gonna say this: it's easier just to go sit at a desk all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is, and it is just sit there and try to micromanage every little thing that goes on. But that's not how I am. It's not the kind of leader I am.
Yeah.
I'm a boots on the ground, being with the people kind of leader, and that's the way I've led. And guys, politics. I still struggle. I don't call myself a politician. I just get to help set policy for the county.
Sure.
But like, this is what you have to be able to talk about why you're the best candidate, right? And that I struggle with that because self-promotion is not my favorite thing in the world, because I get to promote Jesus as a minister and as a Christian, and he's the greatest thing that's ever happened.
That's
so
right.
Anytime I'm talking about myself, I'm like, I'm actually not that great, you know.
Yeah.
But because of him, he's helps me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have accomplished monumental things in 4 years.
Well, let's talk about some of those accomplishments.
Yeah. So when I was running for office, there was major shortfalls in emergency services in this county.
The timeout.
Yeah. All right.
I thought you was gonna lead off with Waffle House.
or the dream of Chick-fil-A, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, the truth is, I guess I get to take some credit for Waffle House, but I had nothing to do with it. You know?
There you go. I didn't mean to get you off track.
No. So emergency services. So man, we were losing. Our volunteer numbers in volunteer fire departments were down bad,
Yeah.
and the average age was in their 60s. We've been able to give unprecedented increases to everything emergency services. The sheriff's department was underpaid considerably, and they had a revolving door. They were not fully staffed. We were losing sheriff's deputies. I'm talking counties surrounding us. They're way smaller than us and way less economically blessed than we are. We're paying their deputies more money than we were. And then EMS was the same way. And then county fire they're scraping the bottom of the barrel to get volunteers. I got a picture from last night on their new recruit class at the Jason Dickey Training Center. It was packed. There's probably 40 young people excited
That's good news.
about
Awesome.
becoming volunteer firemen. And that's because I proposed and pushed to the commission that from our savings every year, because we over budget expenses and we under budget revenue, from our savings every year for the last 2 years, we've been able to give county fire more than double what they were getting in the budget. Every single year as a nonprofit donation to them. And now we're working toward some further. So if you didn't know this, we have county firemen that are on call, that are working at Leoma Fire Hall and at Etheridge Fire Hall 5 days out of the week. And they're about to add they've got 5 right now. They're going to add a 6th fireman. And they can do that because they've got the money to be able to do that. And that's helping so much that these guys are there during the day on the clock. And our response time to fires, and thing is, they don't just do fires. They go for emergency calls.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's right.
They go, EMR calls is the majority of their calls. And so they all want to fight a fire. That's what they train to do.
Yeah.
But they also train to do emergency medical response.
That's
so
right.
They're out there
That's right.
pumping on somebody's chest, keeping them alive till the ambulance gets there. I mean, I had a motorcycle wreck years ago, and that was the first guy that showed up on my scene when my arm was crushed and I was scared to death. Didn't know if I was paralyzed or not from smacking the pavement. It was a volunteer fireman, you know, and I remember that guy, and I'm so thankful he was there. So that's a huge thing we've done, and I'm so proud of that. And I'm going to tell you something, that had never even been proposed by either of my opponents before I came into office. And so I created a committee called the Emergency Services Committee, and I put 8 people on that board, on that committee, and we sit down, we have tough conversations around emergency services, and we have made astronomical leaps and bounds in that area. And you can ask any county fireman how much better it is, and even EMS. So EMS is fully staffed. The sheriff's department is fully staffed. We've got to understand those people that are out there putting their life on the line and witnessing some of the most difficult things you can ever see.
And the worst of life. A lot of times you and I go day and weeks and months at a time seeing the best of life, and those guys don't go a day without seeing the worst of somebody's life.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, you think about deputies with all the domestic stuff they do. They put their life. Look, when I go to my office every day, I'm not even thinking about somebody shooting me
Right.
But these guys every single day, when they kiss their wife and they go to work, or she kisses her husband and she goes to work, there's a looming fear in the back of their mind that might be the last time they see them. I mean, that's a legit fear. So I've been so proud of that. And Sheriff Myers, man, you know, we worked together on that. It's been a big part of what we've done. I could go on about other things. Look, we haven't done a road building program in Lawrence County in 28 years. Well, it was 26 years that we hadn't invested a big chunk of money in roads. We gave, the commission agreed and approved a bond. We gave the school system $12 million. We gave the highway department $6 million for a road building program. We accrued another $3.2 million from the state that they gave for state connecting roads. So we've invested $9.2 million in Lawrence County roads. Guys, the last road building program, I believe, was $2 million or a little shy thereof when Donnie Joe was elected into office. So I want you to think about that. So we were able to do, 400% more than what was done 24 or 26 years ago. We've done that since I've been in office. And yeah, we accrued some debt, but bond ratings are so low as far as the interest rate, and we've paid off $18.5 million since I've been in office, right? Because you're always paying off debt as you're. So anyway, those are two huge things that we've been able to do. And the school system, with the bond money we gave them, they were able to expand, loosen their belt, if you will, at the schools that were a little overcrowded and make room, buy the land they needed, build some buildings. And so our school system, they just paid for a huge survey to be done and study. For the next 10 years, they're not having to build more educational classroom space. They need some recreational space and things like that. But right now, we are really set on a good path. There may be they may have to do some playing chess with the number of kids that can go to this school or that school. They may have to draw some lines, you know. But we are in really good shape for that. And for us, the county government funds that, right? So if they have to build a new school, that's anywhere from $45 to $60 million. And guys, I mean, that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
And to be able to even borrow that much money is a challenge for us. So, so those are some of the things we've been able to accomplish that I'm super, super proud of. And I can say, I was in Bonnertown that Sunday night of the tornado. I got down there about midnight, 12:30, and I was back on the ground that morning, 8 a.m., and I got to see all of our emergency services guys work together in the city of Lawrenceburg, and highway department, the county sanitation. Everybody came together, and volunteers from all over the place. And so, here's again, there's a renewed passion and vigor, if you will, among all of our emergency personnel, because they feel like, the majority of them, of course, there's always more you can do. The majority of them really feel like, man, we've been heard, and
those are government services that are needed. I complain a lot of times about, not necessarily local, but government in general overreach and doing too much. Those are the services that are fundamental.
Well, my parents have experienced, they're 80 years old, and thank God for the ambulance drivers that showed up at their house on time. Thank God for when my dad, had a little heart issue at a Kaufman ball game 2 years ago, that they were there and was able to get him out and life flight him to St. Thomas, and he's still alive and teaching his Bible study on Wednesday night. Those are the kind of services that when you need them, man, we better have good morale, we better have people paid well, and we better have have them there being able to do their best, because they see the worst of life.
They do.
It's a good deal. Good deal. What's on the horizon for you, buddy?
Man, we got a lot of things coming up in the county, and we are looking. The sale of this Southern Tennessee Higher Education Center is happening, and the state is it's going through the traps at the state right now. There's no roadblocks. It looks like the sale is going to be approved. City of Lawrenceburg and Lawrence County, we'll get our original investment back plus a few dollars, and all that money was given, and there was money borrowed at the time in cash that was put in to build that building. All that money was given for educational purposes, and so I'm proposing to the commission that every bit of that money go to educational purposes, and part of it has to go there. And so we are gonna help the schools get what they need to do what they need to do. One of the big things I'm pushing toward is school systems set aside money to look at. If you go to the Summertown gym, it's my favorite place to play basketball growing up. But if you ever go to a game there or graduation or anything else, it's just, goodness, how old is it? 60 something years old, and it's not handicap approved. There's teams that don't even want to play there anymore because of how tight the walls are and the kids hitting the walls, and so they've been talking about building a new gymnasium at Summertown, and so I want to propose, of course, some of that money to go toward that. And then also Lawrence County High School has one gym floor, for 1,000 students, right? Last year, a little over 1,000 students, I believe, and they have one gym floor, and it was that way when I was in school.
Yeah.
And that is chaotic to try to figure all that out. So they're talking about a multi-use facility where they can play volleyball in it and they can practice basketball in it and various things like that all at the same time. And then we're looking at some things to do at Loretto High Schools too. So I'm kind of focusing on the 3 high schools and kind of what they need in this season. And let me say this, it'll be one of the first time, maybe the first time in Lawrence County history that we will be able to essentially cash flow a multi-million-dollar project
That's good.
while we maintain our fund balance. And again, our fund balance, one of my jobs as county exec is to be the fiscal agent of this county. You know, I am the CFO. Like Keith, as city mayor, you're blessed to have a city manager. You know, well, I am the county manager, right, in my role.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a full-time job. Yours is a full-time job with part-time pay, right?
Yeah.
Mine's a full-time job with full-time pay, but I'm also the CFO of the county. So my responsibility is to present a budget to the commission, and then I manage the budget once it's passed. And so we have passed 4 balanced budgets. We've actually added to the surplus every year. Guys, we have increased our surplus by, I think it's 61% since I've been in office.
That's good.
While we've been doing all the things we've done for the exponential increases we've been able to do for those emergency services. So proud of that. A lot of that's got to do with our growth. Lawrenceburg's growing. There's a lot of good things that are happening.
So let me ask you something along those lines. And what time is it? We got a few minutes?
Yeah, we've got a few minutes.
Okay, so it doesn't take a scholar to figure out that Murray County's got a moratorium on building because of their water shortages. We're seeing more and more developers, they hit roadblocks in Murray County. They're moving towards Lawrence County. And let me, as a Gideon, I give out scriptures to 5th graders. Lawrence County is one of the few counties still left in the state of Tennessee that allows Gideons to distribute Bibles to 5th graders.
Wow.
By far,
True.
Summertown Elementary School has always had the largest 5th grade population,
Okay.
and they still do, and it grows every year. All right, so I know we're talking about maybe building a gym for Summertown, but logic says those 5th graders become 12th graders pretty quick. So is there long-term plans for that kind of thing, for maybe even a new high school altogether, and not just a gym? To me, that's sort of, I think it's needed. I think a gym is needed. But to me, that's just one piece of the puzzle that needs to be fixed up there.
No, you're right about, like, Summertown is our fastest growing area of the county.
Yeah.
Just because of the proximity to Nashville. A lot of people commute and drive to Murray County, Spring Hill, whatever. There is, and again, the difference between what the commission does as far as planning goes and what I do as far as planning. You got the school board and you get the school system and their planning. So we help fund their plans, but they make their plans. And it's part of the fact we're a 57 Act county. It's just the way the law set up. 81 Act counties, they work more in conjunction with one another, budgetary wise and planning wise. But if it's not broke, don't fix it. In Lawrence County, we got some of the most cooperative governmental relationships I've ever seen. And I got county mayors that just beat their head against the wall dealing with city mayors or school boards or school superintendents. I don't have those problems. And so I'm thankful for that. But so there are plans down the road. So part of Summertown's part of the school system solutions at Summertown was they moved their 6th grade, or they moved some of their grades around to different buildings up there to make it work for the size.
Right.
There's also plans down the road to add educational space, but that would be just, plugging in another building like they finished that project 2 years ago, plugging in another building on the backside to make room. Because the truth is, school buildings are what? They're concrete, they're block walls, and they're metal roofs with membrane, right, on these roofs. And so those buildings, those kind of buildings can last a long time, and if they're maintained well, which our school system does a really, really good job of maintaining, and then the need to tear those down and build a $60 million one where you could maybe build a $10 million educational wing, in the years that you need it. I think that, to me, that's a wiser use of funds and a more appropriate way to spend that money. So, and again, school system's always looking out and being able to plan for that kind of growth. if we can stay at our growth numbers, Keith, that we've had over the last few years, it's manageable. Murray County's growth rate was exponentially unmanageable for them. It just boomed. And part of that
I guess that's what I'm getting at is right now it's manageable, but Murray County has stopped because they had to.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to happen here, we don't have any codes in the county or anything like that. These developers can come down and develop 200 acres of property any way they want to, really. And what that means is you've got families moving into those homes or whatever they build, and they go to schools. They burden the government entities.
And David, I can tell you, because of the business I'm in, that I'm getting calls, regular calls from out of town builders looking for land. And got one just yesterday, wanted to buy. I've got a subdivision listing near the high school, the Slater Estates. We just put that on the market and got all those lots. Had a call just yesterday from an out of town builder. Want to know if he could buy the whole subdivision to build houses.
Well, let me say this. So I created two committees when I came into office. Okay. One was Emergency Services Committee. The other was the Property Development and Codes Committee. So every 4 years, the commission has to vote. They'll vote this September on whether or not to opt into state building codes or not. And we've voted no every year. Every time, the commission's always voted no.
Yep.
Listen, I grew up as an electrician, all right? My whole life, all of us are electricians. My dad went to Purdue, got an industrial electrical engineering degree. We all grew up knowing electricity and working in it. I've been shocked more times than I like to admit. So
Then you're doing it.
yeah. That might be that little tick there.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm saying is, I started that committee because I wanted to have common sense conversations, tough conversations about these kind of things. Well, guys, 1 year in, I was no longer the chairman of the commission, so the chairman of the commission sets those committees that aren't finance committees. I still control all the finance committees. And my opponent, that's August's opponent, completely deleted that committee. Completely deleted it. Even though I had a town hall meeting, because they're about burning the courthouse down when we said the word codes. And the deal was, I'm not saying I want blanket codes in the whole county. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, we've got to have tough conversations about it, and I want to have them in a committee meeting, not behind closed doors, because I want to do it where public can opine and we can. So I put builders on that committee, I put farmers on that committee, I had John Rose on that committee, I had Ernie Jones, who's the chairman of Farm Bureau, I had Justin Holt on that committee, and I had commissioners on that committee, and they completely deleted that after that first year because they don't even want to have these conversations. And these are tough conversations, things we got to talk about. Yeah. And I referenced being an electrician because when I was a child, my first ever duplex to wire by myself, I was 14 years old, and I wired the whole thing by myself, the whole one side, and it was kind of the training ground for me or whatever.
Yeah. It was the fire department training.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So I was so proud, and we played the Jacobses last night. We played the electrical inspectors team last night. Yeah. John Jacobs with JL's his daddy.
Yeah, that's right.
Brenda's on the school board.
Electrical inspector.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell y'all something. I was nervous when he showed up that day to give me a rough-in inspection. Yep. But man, when I saw that blue sticker go in that panel, you talking about proud. Yeah. I was so proud. If I'd had a cell phone, I'd call my dad right then. So I've never been as a builder, as a construction guy, I've never had an issue with anybody looking at my work because all that does is affirm my work.
Right. Well, what I don't understand is I've lived in the city of Lawrenceburg my whole life, and codes is really not an issue. We can build whatever we like to build.
It's not as restrictive as people think it is. And so what I'm saying is, I think you got to have these conversations. You got to be prepared because. Don't tell me that a builder that comes in here, like the one that bought all the acreage up there beside Schaefer's, and they still haven't built anything. Of course, the gentleman, God rest his soul, passed away that owned that company. Right. But there's more to it than that. A lot of them will buy these tracts of land. They'll put a stake in the ground and say, hey, we're going to build this. And then they come and ask to see what they can get. Yeah. From the state economic development department because they know we have a housing shortage. They come, it's a fishing exercise. Yeah. So they throw the bobber out there in the water and they see who's going to buy it. Sure. They wanted the city of Lawrenceburg and they wanted the county to help them with a sewer plant up there and all their own sewer plant. There's various things. They're trying to get a grocery store chain to move in up there. You know what I'm saying? But for them, it's a smart investment. They go, they cut the trees, they make a little bit of cash. They sit there, they buy the land in a hot real estate area that's growing in value. Yeah. And 3 years from now, if they don't build it, they bought 20 of those nationwide. If they don't build it 3 years from now, guess what? They turn around and sell it and they make money on their land. On their investment.
So the next guy's going to do the same thing.
That's it. So, but we need to have a say-so in what I think the citizens need to have a say-so because the farmers around these developments, and this is why I put farmers on that committee And is the farmers around these developments are going to be affected when runoff water floods their fields, floods their streams, when there's not proper, because don't tell me that a developer is building 250 houses isn't going to shortcut some stuff here and there if he can
exactly right.
to save a couple $1 million, $4 or $5 million over the life of the project. He will on drainage, he will on
roads,
everything. Roads,
anything like that. Number one.
Yeah, because that's the most expensive part.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah,
right.
the dirt work, and that's where, that's why I had Justin Holt on that committee. I mean, it's important that we have difficult conversations. I'm not in government to not have difficult conversations. I'm not scared of that, because I think if we all get in a room and have honest conversations, we're going to come to some reasonable solutions.
Sure.
So anyway,
I like that.
So what's got to be done? Hey, we've got a couple more minutes. David Morgan, County Executive, of course, it's election season. He's running again to be reelected. And Keith Durham's in here just contributing to the conversation.
Yeah.
And you listening to a good hour here with David Morgan. David, I know you've talked about a number of things. What about when you do win? What's next?
oh man, that's my wife says that all the time, but I have a hard time
Then
saying
what are you gonna
that
do?
because I don't want to be too presumptuous. Man, we're just going to continue. Here's the thing: we're going to continue investing in infrastructure, education, public safety. We're going to continue walking down those roads. And you know, I say this today, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And it's not broke. Lawrence County is doing well. We're booming. There's one big thing. I'm a first generation farmer. Okay, I am paying out the nose to be a farmer right now.
Yeah.
Farm Credit loves me, right?
That's the way first generation farmers are.
Yeah. So I say this: farming didn't choose me. I chose farming. I wasn't born to a farmer that owned a bunch of land. So, but I love farming. I love the culture. I love the way of life. I love being on my land. I love it, and we hope to build a house on our farm someday. Lord willing, and the dead don't rise. We'll do that. But I want to protect farmland too. I want to see industrial growth, but I want to protect farmland.
Yeah.
There are numerous states that have zoning for farmland that classifies it as Class A, B, C, D. And certain classes of farmland, which we have in this county, they're really good farm ground. Your Etheridge area,
Yeah.
all that area is way better farm ground than, say, south of the 64 bypass. So how do we protect that? You know, how do we do that? I'm talking to our legislators in the state. You know, the state needs to set some guidelines on that because we are booming. This state is booming and industry is looking to come everywhere. Hey, we had a great announcement just yesterday, lumber liquidators. Of course, I've had to be quiet about that for quite some time.
I mean, how can you be quiet about that? It's a 500,000 square
No,
foot.
it's incredible. Well, yeah, but everybody doesn't drive by there, so they don't know. And the attention span of people are so short with social media stuff. So I want to protect farmland. I want to protect our way of life. The reason why people are moving here is not just because it's cheaper to live here than it is in California or Michigan or wherever, but it's because of our way of life.
It is the way of life.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And that's all part of it. The agrarian culture, going to church on Sunday, sitting around the kitchen table every night, you know what I mean, working the farm. That's what's made us who we are. And whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't matter. That's who we are. And I'm thankful for the conservative Christian values that we have.
You know, and I agree with that 100%. And when those folks move in here, they're wanting to live the whole Southern lifestyle, which is going to church on Sunday too, something they may have never done. And I hope that we're a community that embraces that and welcomes those folks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We just got to get them to start saying y'all and you.
That'll come. That'll come with a bunch of cups of coffee and conversations.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Man, I appreciate you guys letting me be here today, and I love what I do. I love helping people. That's my whole life, and that's what government is. And the day that it becomes about something other than helping people, the day that becomes about me being better than this guy or that guy, or me having all the great ideas, that's the day I hope that, and I know Keith will tell me this, and I hope you do too, as one of my friends. I think that will be the day I want y'all to tell me, David, you know, it's not what it once was for you. You need to get out of that mess, right?
Yep.
And so it's about helping people, and that's what our Lord and Savior came to do, is make our lives incredibly better and give us eternal hope. And I want to give people hope, and government helps do that in a lot of ways.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, David, we're out of time, buddy.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. Come back and be with us again. Keith, good Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Till next time, boys. Thanks a lot.
Well, we didn't open up any can of worms today, did we?
You did
All
good.
right. Man, I hate like having to